Yeah, let me ask you a question. Based on the information that you guys have, do you think you can teach this subject? Because if you can teach it, then you can pass it. Yeah, okay. No, that's good. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Okay, I want to focus on this subject today. Hardware vulnerabilities or vulnerabilities in general and some of the attacks. Okay, I'm going to start with this one. Vulnerabilities that are based on hardware. I'm going to start on this one. Firmware. You guys already know what BIOS is, right? It's software that is designed specifically for the hardware. When you switch on your PC, you'll see the first black screen that shows or checks all the hardware, the hard drives, and the CPUs. That's firmware. Um, so firmware. So some of these devices, when they are designed, unfortunately, they are designed with some vulnerabilities, and they may give some problems in the firmware. But some of the manufacturers, they do give updates. So you need to go to their website and update the firmware, or you log in directly on the firmware page and then you run some updates from there. This one, I don't have to speak a lot about it. You already know this is older operating systems that no longer have support, Windows XP, things like that. Those are very vulnerable. Unpatched systems, also those ones are very vulnerable to your systems. It means they are open. So when we run things like this, it shows you what you need to patch. But currently we are using manage engine, but we want to change because manage engine is not giving us all the information. So we're using this manage engine patch. But the biggest problem is that manage engine is not giving us all the information. So when we run this one, we're able to see more information that we don't see on manage engine. So it's either we're going to go with this one or this one, Qualys. We're also looking at this one. And then another thing that can give us vulnerabilities on systems is hardware that's misconfigured. So if the company buys a firewall and they do not set it up correctly, it will not be able to do its job correctly. So if it's supposed to block certain traffic based on the rules, then it might not be able to do that if it's misconfigured. It might block what it's not supposed to block and then let in traffic which is supposed to block. So it's very important that when you buy new systems or new hardware or applications, you need to configure it correctly and test it and see if it's doing what it's supposed to. Okay, and then to address some of these hardware vulnerabilities, you have to do this hardening. This basically just means tightening up your security systems, e.g., updating your software, getting new software or buying new software if you have to, updating your EDR. Remember, we don't use antivirus, we use EDR. And another important thing is this one, decommissioning. This means basically removing systems that are no longer needed on the network. So if you leave, let's say there's a server somewhere or a PC that's connected to the network, maybe it was used by someone and they left the company, or maybe in the server room, there's a server that's no longer being used, but it's still on the network. That is a security gap. So we need to make sure that we check all these devices. If they're still being used, if they're no longer being used, then we need to decommission them, meaning that we remove them from the network. Because if you don't, then that means those systems can be used to get into our network. So if you go to, we have to go to the assets. Let me go to Microsoft 365. Okay, I don't have assets management here. But for us in the company, we're currently using Manage Engine Asset Manager. And we're able to track all the devices, servers, normal laptops, normal PCs, mobile devices. You can see when they logged in or when they connected to the network. When was the last time someone logged in on that PC? Who logged in? And all that information. Okay, and then I'm gonna jump onto this one, Bluetooth vulnerabilities. So because Bluetooth is a wireless transmission of data for short distances. So sometimes if someone is close enough to you, for instance, maybe if you're trying to connect your mobile device to in your car, if someone is close enough to your car, they may be able to connect. And especially if you don't have a password on that Bluetooth, they also may be able to connect to your car device. They might end up playing their music on your car or in your car. So that's why even Bluetooth devices, they will or normally they will ask you to create a code or some form of password because of that, to avoid that someone connecting. And Bluetooth device spoofing, basically that's when someone attacks or an attacker impersonates a device and then they connect to your device. Okay, now I'm going to jump onto this one, mobile vulnerabilities. When it comes to mobile, you need to obviously run updated software. When new updates come out, you need to update. But sometimes when you're running an old phone, when you're trying to run the latest updates, they do not work because obviously these companies, they want you guys to buy like the latest phones. So eventually they'll say you cannot update. So what some people do they do this jailbreaking or rooting. So what is this? So they go to the settings and then they grant themselves this root access, and then they try and download software which is not in the Google Store or App Store. But there is a risk though if you do that. You cannot reverse it, and you won't be able to receive any protection from the manufacturer. So if you wanna like customize, if you wanna take your Android phone, try and make it look like an iOS, you can do it. You can use this jailbreaking, but just know that you cannot reverse your phone. Even if you take your phone back to Samsung, you say that maybe you need assistance. Once you've done this procedure here, they won't be able to assist you, because when you've done this, you're no longer receiving updates. Your phone will be won't be able to receive the latest security updates, and it will be customizable, meaning you can change the icons, how they look. They won't look like a normal um, Android. You can make them look like iOS if you want to, but it's very risky. And in this one, side loading, the guys who are using those old Huawei, because of Google, I think Google had some issues in China, so they stopped supplying their apps on this Huawei's. So these guys who are using these Huawei phones, for them to get some of these Google applications, they went to unverified um, websites because they couldn't access the normal Google Play Store. So they would go to unverified websites, and then they would download those Google apps. They would download what we call APK. This APK basically allows you to install some of these applications from the web, not directly from Google Play Store. But obviously, when you download applications from unknown or unverified sources, you might affect your phone in other things. You might download malicious software. So that's what a side loading is, meaning you're loading applications not from Google Play Store or not from Apple Play Store, but from unverified sources. And in this one, MDM, we did talk about it, mobile device management. This is what companies use basically to manage their data or to distribute their applications. So if you join, let's say you join my company, I want you to have my Outlook app on your phone. Then maybe I also want you to have my Teams, and maybe I have another application that I also want you to have. I can distribute all those applications using this mobile device management. It will be Microsoft has this one, Intune. Let's see if it opens. Then I'll go to apps. So if I had specific apps, maybe I wanted my employees to have access to those apps, I would add all those apps here. And then on the user's device, it will look something like this. Intune. App. Okay, it's too small. Let me see if I can maximize it. So it will be like a normal app on the phone. And when you open that app, it will show all the company apps. It will show my Outlook, my Teams, to show the files that I share with you that belong to the company will also be inside of that application, that Intune application. So that's what mobile device management does. And then when somebody leaves the company, they no longer um, require access to company apps and data. We'll also just come here and delete, remove them from here. Once you remove them from here, the app, the Intune app will disappear from their phone and they will no longer have access to company data and applications. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, let's look a bit at some of these questions. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Which definition best describes firmware? Which one? The Okay, that's correct. What is a legacy system? See, okay. Then how do hardening and decommissioning contribute to hardware security? Yeah, that's correct. Okay. What is the common vulnerability when Bluetooth devices establish a connection without proper authentication? Okay. In this one, what does jailbreaking or rooting in mobile devices primarily involve? Yeah. So it bypasses the manufacturer's software restrictions. What is side loading in mobile devices? Okay. Okay, now let's go back here. Let's talk about this one, 0-day vulnerability, which is connected to this one. So when it comes to vulnerabilities, some of them are known because they've affected other people or other companies, and then they'll be in the media, they'll talk about it, and people and companies are aware of it. But sometimes there's what we call 0-day vulnerabilities. So this one basically is a vulnerability that is yet or that is discovered before the vendor could provide a patch for it. So basically, a vendor would develop or design a product and send it out in the market, but only to find that actually their product has some backdoor which can be exploited. and that's what we call a 0-day, because the vendor did not have any time to see that vulnerability. And a 0-day exploit basically is taking advantage of this. An exploit that is unknown in a software or hardware. Because sometimes if you check when they design mobile devices, sometimes you hear that iPhone is recalling this new model because of this and this. The reason for that is because they released a device which had this 0-day vulnerability, and then someone or some people were able to take advantage of that, and then hence when Apple finds out, then they'll release a statement to say, we have to recall all the 11 or iPhone 11 model which were released because of such and such an issue that we need to sort out. Okay. I want to talk about this SQL injection. So before I go to SQL injection, you need to know what an SQL is. So do you guys know about this, right? Microsoft SQL, the database. So it's used to store all the data from the websites. So let me open any website. I can even open YouTube. So every website has what we call a database. And every database uses some form of SQL. So whenever I come to this, say I come to YouTube, log in, or I type whatever I search for, any video or anything like that, all this information is stored in a database. So let me open this, then I can show you. So if this is a website, okay, let me do this. Okay, sorry about it. So if this is a YouTube website, so all the videos are stored in what we call web servers. And then they'll be connected to database server. So when you log in, all the usernames, passwords of every person who has access on YouTube stored on these database servers. So all the information about the users of YouTube is stored on the database servers. So a website basically is just it's a window. And then on this window, you can request whatever video that you want. Obviously, before you can access that video, you need to have a Gmail account. When you create a Gmail, basically you're creating a username and a password. Your username will be stored here and the password. Then once you have a username and password, you can request whatever video that you want, and all the videos will be stored on the web servers. And a web server uses SQL software. It will use something like this, but there's other softwares that can be used for SQL. There's Oracle, there's many others. If I can open, let me open SQL. I just want to show you. Yeah, it will look something like this. You can see a name, surname. So YouTube will have this name, surname, email address, and all your other information on their database server. So this is what a database will look like. It would look like this. So every time you log in on YouTube, if you enter your username and password, it will check here first to see if you exist, whether your username and a password exist here in your email address. Okay, let's go back here. So this SQL injection, this is an attack that targets this the database server. And what it does is that the attacker will send a malicious code to the database. Now, how do they do that? Let me log out and then try and log in. I don't want to log out here. I don't know if I remember the password, but let me try it here. If I can sign out here. Okay, let me close it. Okay, so when I get to the login screen, then when I click on my username, then here I type my password. But attackers, when they're doing this SQL injection, when they get to this login screen, they don't type the password because they don't know the password. So they'll usually type malicious code here. So if they do, for some reason, find a username, but they don't know the password, when they get to the screen, if your website is weak, they'll type something like this. So this 1 equals 1 It's a malicious code which was used by hackers for logging in on websites or websites which were weak. So websites were not checking, validating. So once you get to this screen, you type 1 equals 1 and you just click sign in and it will log in. It will run the code on the database server. And then once the hacker is on the server, on the database server, then they'll be able to see uh, all this information. They can see all the users who are logged in or who are available on that platform. They can see their passwords, their email address, all that information, and then they can use it however they want it. But now websites are very advanced, so they use input validation. Basically means they check whether someone is entering whatever they're entering there. Is it a code or is it a normal password? So that's what an SQL injection means. You send a malicious code to a database. And the way to protect it is to have this input validation. So when you're running a database for your website, you need to show that your database has input validation, meaning your database has a way of differentiating between a normal password and a code. So that's why you need to make sure that you have updates when you're running your SQL software. So we can use, there are free SQL software available, but I wouldn't recommend it unless if you don't mind about your data being used or being hacked. Open source SQL. These are the free SQL software or applications that you can use. These ones. Okay, then now I want to talk about this one, XXS and XSRF. So basically this is cross-site scripting. Okay, let me go back. XXS, then this other one is cross-site request forgery. Okay, let's start with this one. Cross-site scripting. So if I open a website, let me open any website. Okay, Google script. So when you open any website, it has in the background, it's running a script. Let me show you with this. Yeah, I can show you with this quiz that I was doing. If I open this quiz, then I come here, app script. So this is where the script runs for this quiz. So even the websites, they work the same. In the background, there is, remember, a website is a code. Someone did some coding on that website for it to be the way that it is, or to behave in that manner. So this attack here, cross-site scripting, an attacker would manipulate the code or the script of that particular website. Let me see if I can open a script for this website. Okay, developer. Yeah. So this is the script for this Gmail website. So these attackers, what they would do is they will send you phishing emails. And then once you click on that link, then you'll see a website which looks exactly like Google or like Gmail. And then once you click on that, they will change or manipulate the script here on this website. And the reason for that is that they want to change how this website looks. So if I was a software developer right now and I want to change how this looks, I could come here and enter a new code, but I'm not a software developer, so I don't know how to write code exactly. But if I was a software developer, I would come and change some things here. Then I could change how this looks. So that's what a cross-site scripting is all about. It's about a hacker modifying the script on a website so that when the user comes there and types their details, then the hacker will be able to get access to those details. So that's what this is designed for. And then this one, cross-site request forgery. So on this one, the hacker does not modify the script. So what they do here, let's say I want to access Standard Bank website. Let's say I'm a hacker. I want to access Jerry's profile on Standard Bank, but I don't have his details, his login details. So what I will do, if I know that he's using Standard Bank, I'll create some phishing emails. I'll create an email that looks like it comes from Standard Bank, and it has a link. So if Jerry falls for that phishing email and he clicks on that link, thinking it's a Standard Bank, so basically Jerry would be allowing me to have access to his profile for Standard Bank profile. So I'll be able to communicate with Standard Bank using Jerry's profile, even though I don't know the username or the login password. I'll be impersonating Jerry via the link that he clicked. So this cross-site request, the difference between these two is this one, the hackers will have to modify the script and edit it on this side. the hacker does not modify any script, they'll send you a fake email that looks like it's from your bank. And then you click on a link on that email. And once you click on that, then you allow the hacker to be able to communicate uh, with the bank. So the bank, they'll think that they are communicating with Jerry, but it will actually be the hacker. And then this one, buffer overflow. So every program that runs on the PC or system has an allocated memory. So certain applications, maybe they might use, let's say, 20 megabytes memory. Maybe if you're playing games that use a lot of high graphics, maybe they might need more, or 100 megabytes or 500 or whatever. So sometimes if hackers are trying to crash your system, they might run a program that exceeds the allocated memory. So if I know that, okay, so and so, um, their memory is 2 gig or 8 gig or whatever, and they allocate, that PC only allocates 50 megabytes for certain applications or for office applications, I may design or I may insert a malicious script on a file, or Word or Microsoft Word file or Excel file or whichever file, knowing very well that that script exceeds the allocated memory. So once the user opens that file, it will crash that system because that system, that file exceeded the allocated memory. So every file and application has an allocated memory. So this can be similar to DDoS, distributed denial of service. Okay, let's see if we can have time for some questions. Let's go back. Yeah. Okay. We already did some of these. Let's go. Yeah, let's go to this one. So, what is the relationship between 0-day vulnerability and a 0-day exploit? Yeah, answers this one. So, what is an SQL injection? Yeah, let's see. And then, what is a buffer overflow vulnerability? Yeah, it's B. This one, what is the potential impact of hardware misconfiguration on device security? Yeah, the device may not function as intended. Okay. Okay, I need to book this exam. Yeah, so we book from here, no? Pearson VUE. You have to create an account here. If you've never used it before, you'll have to create an account. Okay, I can't remember my login details. I'll have to check them somewhere, or I'll use my login, my Google. Okay, do you have any questions before we disappear? Um, try that exercise. Yeah, carry on. This one. Okay, this one is for when you think that you are ready to go and write the Security Plus exam. You need to come to this platform to come and book the exam. You can either do online testing if you want to. You can write from your home, but they'll need a camera, and they'll need. I'm not sure about the speed of the internet, so that's why I prefer going to the testing center. There's multiple testing centers that you can go to. So you just click here, find test center. It's much easier, and then you just type your address here. Then it will show you all the testing centers. So if I go with my address, then you'll be able to see. Then it will give me all the testing centers that I can go to. I can go to Bedford View, CTU, Jamestown, Orange, all these places. But I'll have to book the exam first here online. Then I'll choose the time or what time, and I'll choose the day as well. When do I want to go? So this is how you book the exam for not just CompTIA, many exams, Microsoft, and but some of these exams they don't allow online, but some do. But I prefer going to the testing center. It's much easier. There's no distractions, no disturbances. No, there'll be computers at the testing center, so they'll take you to the computer room, and then you just log in there, and then you'll start the exam. This one is, I think it's an hour. CompTIA Security Plus is an hour. It's not that long, but you can finish within before that if you know your stuff. It's the for cybersecurity. Yes, so it depends what you're trying to do in cybersecurity. If you're trying to be um, a technical person in cybersecurity, I would suggest you start here. Even if you don't write the exam for this Network Plus, but just to get the knowledge. and then go and write the security plus, because the things that you're going to learn from here, you're going to use them. um, there are things which I learned from this which I still use, like how IP address, how they work, like what is a subnet mask, what is, how to divide um, an IP address. I still use some of those things, but not everyone has to do this. It's like people who are going to do GRC, who are going to become GRC analysts, they don't have to do Network Plus, because their job, it doesn't involve like technical tasks or duties. It's about governance, risk, compliance, and some of those things that I've been teaching you guys. But if you want to be a good technical cybersecurity, then learn some knowledge from Network Plus. That will help you. Even if you don't write the exam, it's fine, but just get that knowledge. And then, but for you, because you already did Microsoft, you want to do what, SC 900, and what's the other one? Fundamentals. Yeah, then it's fine. Go and do the Security Plus. Yeah, go and do that one. I heard something like that. So I was also like surprised, like CompTIA is trying to rip us off here. Jeez. Yeah, that's a lot. Yo, that's a lot. That's a lot. The last time I checked, it was about 3,000. And even that 3,000 was a lot. But now it's even worse. That's a lot. Yeah, no, CompTIA is trying to rip us off. Let me see. Let me see. Maybe I hope AI is lying. Let me see if indeed is the truth. Uh, I think these guys, they see that maybe the certifications is popular, then they trying to cash in. How much is the security plus exam in South Africa? Mm, yeah, no, these guys. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to go here and find out from here, and then check it out. Then I'll let you guys know how much, because I'm gonna book it anyway. Yeah. All right. Let's meet again then Sunday. All right. And then do that practical assessment and see if you're able to do it. The one that I sent yesterday. Cool. Cheers, cheers, guys. Yeah, I sent it yesterday on WhatsApp. Uh, let me see. This, where is it? Yeah, this one. Yeah. Let me edit here. Okay, I've sent it again. This one. Cool. All right. See you again Sunday. Cheers, cheers.